Chapter TC Backer.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Chris Baker.
And I'm Ty Backer.
Welcome to episode 86 of Behind the Toolbelt with TC Backer Construction. We got Ty back this week after a long week down at the roofing conference that was going on in Vegas. We got a lot of stuff to go over today, a lot of cool stuff that he's seen down there.
Yep, for sure.
The weather is not that great, so bear with us if we have any kind of interruptions or anything like that.
Yes,
it is raining outside. I'm sure you guys all seen. So yeah, let's just hop right into it, man. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, it seemed like you had a really good time down there, and you know, got a lot of good nuggets, and seen a lot of cool products, and met a lot of cool people.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
You know, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, no, it was cool because the week before that, actually a couple days before that, I got to go upstate New York to go visit my family, my extended family, that some of which I haven't seen for many years, but that we had a family reunion, the annual family reunion, and I haven't been there for at least 3 years. So it was nice to kind of get away, and of course I brought Vic with me. Mm-hmm. And of course we didn't stop talking about work. And we were able, but it was nice because we're right outside the Adirondacks, so we're in the woods. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're actually in the Adirondacks, but not like we're a few miles away from the lakes and stuff. But it was real quiet, it was real nice, and we didn't have a whole lot of cell phone service, so there wasn't like a lot of interruptions or stressful phone calls or whatever. Everything seemed to be pretty calm. Everybody, you know, back here seemed to have everything under control. So anyhow, I went up there Friday, Saturday. No, we left Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Came back Saturday after the reunion. Came back, got back here probably about 10 o'clock. Went to bed, actually got some things ready to get ready to go to Vegas on Monday. Sunday, kind of finished up some things, flew out. Our first flight was canceled. We were coming out of Harrisburg, going over to Chicago. That flight got canceled. They tried to put us on another flight. We decided to cancel them and go to BWI and flew directly with Southwestern. And we were there in probably, I think, 5 hours. And then when I got there, I got a notification on my phone stating that they were just getting ready to take off. If we would have left from Harrisburg, we would have never taken off from Chicago or Harrisburg, one of the two, until we actually got there Monday afternoon. So it was pretty cool. And like you said, I got to meet a lot of people, mingled. I sat in on a lot of good speakers and educational sessions and stuff like that, and things that struck my interest on anything from marketing to branding to working with the next generation that's coming up through the ranks and stuff like that, and how to be a better mentor, how to be a better leader, how to be a better owner. You know, and the cool thing, the one thing that I picked up when I was out there, and I've heard this before, and I've tried to practice this, but not just trying to be a better leader, but more so in my personal life, being a better father, you know, brother, son, just trying to be there for people in my family and not just getting leftovers from work. Yeah. You know what I mean? When I get home and stuff like that. So I really picked up on that. And
I'm glad you brought that up, Ty, because like one thing that I was hoping for, I've never been to one of these big, work conventions.
Right.
No matter what field you're in, you go to these big conventions that have to do with your industry. It's cool that it's not just focused on your industry. So there is a lot of focus there, but what made me think of that is what you have up on the screen back behind here. And I don't know if you guys can read that. I'm sure you can. If you want to change, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
And that is huge, man. It's so true, because it's so easy sometimes to take the road that you're comfortable with, that you're used to.
Yes.
And which is fine for some people. You know what I mean? But you're never going to expand and grow without stepping outside of your comfort zone, because outside of your comfort zone is where the growth happens.
No, exactly. Yeah. If you're not growing, you're going.
Right.
And then really that's the bottom line. And like you said, I've spent most of my career putting myself in uncomfortable situations, whether it be being around people going and doing Facebook Lives, going to meetings, going and flying, getting on a plane, and flying to Las Vegas. I'm sure you guys heard that. We're in the midst of this right now, and it's pretty gnarly, actually. I've spent most of my career in uncomfortable situations, and I found over the years, when I start to feel comfortable, there's probably trouble lurking around the corner. You know what I mean? And honestly, one of the reasons why we are where we're at today is because I didn't ever want, I don't want to say that I just don't settle for, some people want the house and the white picket fence and the dog and the wife and the kids, and they're just okay with that. You know what I mean? But there's something a little bit different in me that drives me to want, not more, and not in a greedy way whatsoever. And what's driving me today is to want to see more for you, to want to see more for Vic and Tam, and watching Tam grow and flourish, and Jocelyn and Sam. We just started a new program at work that we're launching, and I guess everyone's going to find out right now that we're offering tuition reimbursement. Okay, so Sam's going to school, and we also have some other things that we're offering too. And Tam can let everybody know more about that. It's through LinkedIn Learning, where we paid for this thing, and there's HR things in there. There's QuickBook courses to take. You're not going to gain a degree from it, but it's going to help educate and train people where I can't. You know what I mean? But we're offering those things, and that's open to everybody. So we don't have all the details worked out, but Sam was in the midst of going to school prior to coming to work for us, and I didn't want her to stop not going to school. So, I know working full time and going to school and then trying to afford this and that. So we offered to do reimbursement of tuition. So there would be more to come on that. So Tam's got all the details and paperwork and how we determine who and when can go, because obviously I don't want to have 5 different people going to school at one time. You know what I'm saying? So we have like this, and then once you get elected to go get the tuition reimbursement, there's certain criteria, like you have to maintain a 2.85 GPA, things like that. You can't, miss school, you can't miss work, you can't, there's certain criteria, and again, Tam can let everybody know a little more about that. But I think that's pretty cool, because what it is, it's not about improving ourselves at work, but it's improving the quality of our lives. And really that's the point I'm trying to make, because really we come to work to pay our bills, put a roof over our head, and put food in the refrigerator. Well, if we can't enjoy those things or enjoy ourselves while we're at work, because let's face it, we're at work more than we are at home. It's giving me goosebumps right now, because where we're at least for me, where I'm at in my career today, and able to have been able to surround myself around people like you and the Victors and the Kims and the Jocelyn's, the Sams, the Perrys, the Tams, Laurens, you know what I mean? Sarah, the new girl, the Kevin Dinguses, the Glens, the Denny's, the Howies, the Collins, all of them.
Absolutely.
Okay, I wouldn't be able to go and do these things to hire my education. Am I going to go back to school someday? I don't know. I thought about it, and we talked about that. You know what I mean? There may be something along the lines of, I don't know, maybe I'll get into graphic design, or maybe I'll get into marketing. Maybe, I don't know yet. But right now, and always has been, the sky's the limit. You know what I'm saying? And that was the cool thing when we got to go to the IRE, which is the largest roofing conference in the country. It's the International Roofing Expo. All of the players, anyone who's anyone, from the oldest, largest shingle manufacturers in the country to new products that are being launched on the market this year or coming out next year. So it was really cool to visit those exhibitors. Some I didn't know, never heard of. Some we use on a daily basis. And you can show some of the pictures later. Stinger was there. As stupid as that is, it's a way that we fasten our underlayments to the roof. Stinger was there. Who would have thought? And I said to someone before we left, if you walk around our shop or look around my office, whatever product or whatever tool you see laying on the ground on the shelf is going to be here. And that was no exaggeration. And then some.
Right. Stuff that you've never even heard of.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And then some was there. So it was a really cool experience. You know, and I felt good to be there. Now the time change kind of threw me off a little bit. I felt like I lost 3 hours in the morning because when it was 5 o'clock there, it was 8 o'clock here. So when I was getting up at 4:30, you guys were already 3 hours ahead of me. So anxiety was kicking in. So right away, I'm going to my phone and I'm checking on my phone, like what emails, what text messages, what phone calls. But it wasn't that bad because you guys had the helm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was cool, but still I had that anxiety. Of course, I'm calling Vic. I probably talked to you a couple times. I'm on the horn with Lauren, Chuck, and Glenn. Like, hey, how are you guys doing? Checking in.
Yeah.
Not because there's an issue or an email or a text message. Just I was checking in because you're my people.
That's that little bit of the it's hard to let go.
Yeah.
That still exists in you.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm sure it helps that you make those phone calls not because there's an issue going on, but just to check in. You know what I mean? So that probably helps ease your mind. And I want to touch on a little bit about what you were saying with the tuition reimbursement and not all your skills that you're going to learn in whatever career or industry you go in is going to be learned at with a degree. You know what I mean? So a lot of your trainings, let's just take nursing for example. Okay. Yes, you have to go to a lot more schooling, actual college, and get actual college credits to become a nurse. But a lot of the stuff that you have to learn, you go to classes after school. You know what I mean? Throughout your whole career to re-up your education. Trade schools and that kind of stuff. They're going to teach you a general idea of whatever trade you want to go in. But you're going to do classes where you're going to learn that specific trade that you're going to a lot more. You know what I mean? Than you would in an actual classroom setting. So if anyone out there was interested in the whole tuition reimbursement thing, or is thinking that they want to do something else that isn't necessarily college, don't get discouraged by the fact that it may not be an accredited college in the country or something. You're still gonna get sometimes even better of an education, more hands-on. The classes are smaller, the classrooms are smaller, you have more one-on-one time. So there is a lot more benefits to that versus an actual college. So but with that said, someone like Sam who's going for accounting and stuff, you know what I mean? That's a great example. So she's going to go and she's going to have to get, 80 credits of college, but then there's going to be work she's going to have to do after that to maintain her licenses and maintain all that kind of stuff. If she wants to be a CPA, you have to go after college and go to these special classes, take tests, do all these things. So it's great. And
it is very exciting.
Gio, I'm glad you tagged Taylor in this. We have a young kid that works for us that just graduated high school that's looking, he told me recently he wants to take a break from school for a year, work for us, and then pursue college. This is a great program.
Perfect opportunity.
You know what I mean? So,
and I think we may have talked about him before.
He was going to be our guinea pig with this whole thing. So awesome stuff, man. And I really like the fact that like I said before, the focus wasn't 100% on roofing the whole time. I'm sure there was a schedule that you had every day that, this speaker was speaking here, and those speakers are really good at getting your juices flowing.
They were. It was great. I mean, it was absolutely wonderful. The only downside to it was the jet lag of coming back. You know what I mean? Which I had never really experienced that before because I don't know why. It was just so odd because, I mean, we've been to Mexico and places like that and have done things like that, but I don't think I've never experienced like that 3-hour time change where it just, on the way back, it really threw me off where I didn't sleep for a day and a half since we were back last night. I actually finally got some sleep, which was pretty cool. And, what's Lauren saying? We're glad that you're a part of this. Yeah, Dingus, thanks for watching, Dingus. And Dingus plays a big part in this too, man. So I was talking to him a little bit tonight about, the expansion and the new things and the processes that we're putting in place and the new system. And the entire infrastructure of the company is being rebuilt right now,
right.
and it's very painful, but in the same time, in the same token, it's very exciting, and I think 99.9% of us is drinking that Kool-Aid. Like, we know this is all going to help us
absolutely.
in the long run, and to be able to do services like we're doing for Sam right now, and then Cam turned me on to this LinkedIn learning thing that like the possibilities and the things and the courses that you can take in this thing are like endless. Like there was so much stuff in there that I wish I would have known about it 5 years ago.
Right.
So I could have maybe did it a little more sooner.
Yeah.
But it's never too late.
Right.
I mean,
absolutely.
But it's really never too late. But you know, like you said, it was great to listen to people that aren't just trying to better their careers, but also better their personal life with their family life. You know what I'm saying? Because really, if your personal life is messed up, the chances are that your work life isn't going to be the greatest either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you know, it's like anything else. If you can't manage your money at home, you're probably not an accountant at work.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's probably not your field. But you know, it's just trying to get everyone's life a better quality of life, and really at the end of the day, isn't that what we're really trying to do?
That's what I go to work for, man.
Right.
I mean, I don't get me wrong, I love what I do and everything, but you know, if I didn't have to work, I probably wouldn't work the way that I work. You know what I mean? I couldn't just sit on my butt and not do anything all day every day, but I wouldn't work, you know, 50, 60, 70 hours a week.
Right.
If I didn't have to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that we can all agree on that. Unless you're doing something that, you know, isn't work, you know, like for instance, an athlete or something like that they're actually doing something that, you know, they would be doing whether they got paid to do it or not.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'd imagine most of us get up and go to work every day. You know, that's why we ask that question when we have people on our show. You know, what drives you? And especially someone in your shoes and the people that were probably speaking at this event shoes. If y'all really wanted to, you probably wouldn't, you know, you could set yourselves up right now to not have to do this anymore.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So obviously there's something other than money.
Yeah.
That is getting you
motivated
to get up and be stressed at 4:30 in the morning when you're 3 hours behind,
right.
wondering what text went off, what emails went out, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So I think that's
and not letting someone down.
Right.
Is really what it comes down to.
Right. You got a lot of mouths to feed now.
Yeah, whether it be a client or you guys, I'm afraid to let you guys down. That's probably one of my biggest fears. But I really look at that being a healthy fear today.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? I've had a lot of fears in my life, and a lot of them weren't healthy fears like I have today. I have what I call healthy fears in my life today.
And we probably wouldn't be making the moves that we're making and doing the things that we're doing and all that kind of stuff without those healthy fears.
Right on, man.
You know?
From all of us. From all of us.
That's all good stuff. So
it really is.
I wanna flip through here and ask you a couple questions about some of the stuff that you've seen out there.
Yeah.
So this first slide here is the Gaf booth. Which was it the one before that? No, that's our advertisement there. I'd imagine they had solar on site.
They did.
What all kinds of, was there anything new on the shingle side of things that they were showing off, or was it pretty much all the HDZ?
It was the
HDZ stuff.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which they're still, you know, promoting the limitless win rating, things of that nature. There was a lot of, actually they had a lot of their, good bit of their commercial TPO was on site. Unfortunately, they didn't have anyone there.
Yeah. So I'm sure you guys can see
for me to be able to talk to a salesperson or not, because what happened was Las Vegas had put in their kind of sort of started to put their COVID restrictions back in place like about a week before this.
Right.
So what happened was GAF, they came out and they set up shop just like they did, and they actually had the largest display there.
It looks big, man.
Yeah, they took up more space than anyone else that was there. They had a huge presence there, and it's a shame that, you know, that they felt compelled to keep their people safe and not allow anyone to show up to the expo. But it was still cool, and like you said, they had solar on display. They had a lot of really cool videos and stuff of that nature. Like, so you could watch. Some of it was the HDZ, and then I think I don't know if I put the photo in there or not, but there was pictures of a dugout for a college baseball team that had HDZ shingles on it. So they had a big display of that, and it says GAF on it and stuff like that, and the things and the people that GAF partners with, and the stuff that they do to give back to, you know, the community and different homeowners. And I think they do a no roof left behind kind of thing for veterans. You know, just so there was a lot of that stuff there that, you know, but I didn't see anything, unfortunately, that was new and being launched. Now, there are some things that I know about that unfortunately I can't, we can't speak about yet, and they didn't have it there.
Yeah, I was curious to know if they
I would have had all
pulled the cloth off anything while they were there.
No.
Sorry, guys.
Yep.
I tried.
Yeah.
So here is their GAF Energy section with a pretty familiar solar display here. If you guys have been out to our home show, we have something very similar to this. The only thing that differs with theirs, if you guys can see, they actually have up here. They have what shows how it looks under the shingles. You know what I mean? So they have a piece of flashing that's cut in half there to kind of show how it's nailed down, how it's attached. Shows the underlayment, the fire barrier, all that kind of stuff. So
that's
pretty
showed
neat.
Like the deck, and then the underlayments, the fire rated underlayment. They showed how it was step flash like the skylight kit, and like you said, the head flashing here, or the apron flashing, I guess, that went over top of the flashing. It was actually pretty cool how they had it. They had it on a steel frame that you can actually take the roof part off of to transport it, and then it was also like the frame was on wheels and it would spin if you needed it to spin for some reason. So I actually have other pictures on how they built that, so then maybe we can use that same concept.
Nice.
That shows next year or years after.
So here's another, these are just a couple pictures of the GAF display. As you guys can see, I mean, this thing's massive. This thing is definitely massive.
Yeah.
Big video wall here.
Yep. Yeah, it was a pretty cool picture of the HDZ.
And then
Hover. Yeah.
Hover. What was going on with those guys, man?
So basically, they were showing you how they can do the 3-dimension of the house and how it does the roof, the siding, the gutter, soffit fascia takeoff, and basically a rough opening of the windows, so at least you could quote it, which I thought was pretty slick. That most aerial takeoffs don't give you like a rough opening of the windows. Now, Eagle View does a great job. Okay, they also do that too. So at least you can count the windows and make sure that it's under 101 United inches, or if it's over. So at least you could quote it, especially during COVID. Like if someone wanted windows but they didn't quite want you in the house yet or whatever, you know what I mean? You could do a contactless quote by doing, you know, a 360 image of their house. And why I found it interesting to go over to the Hover booth is because our E360 through GAF is actually the operating system is Hover. It's the same exact thing as E360 that GAF uses. So that's what intrigued me to go over and talk to these guys. And you know, there wasn't a lot that they didn't tell me that I didn't already know about it, but I just thought it was cool to meet them in person.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. So if anyone doesn't know what Hover is, that is like a satellite imagery software that can take a satellite image and make measurements and help contractors do takeoffs on site. So that's what allows us to get a estimate back to you sometimes within an hour.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. And see, that's the thing too. It cuts down on making errors. You know what I mean? It cuts down on waste. It cuts down on overages. You know, it nails it. I don't know what the percentage of the accuracy is, but it's pretty dead on. I mean, we've used them, I don't know how many times, and then they give you different options too with the 10% waste, 12, 15, so on and so forth.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to goof it up. Like they do all the work for you, really.
Right.
They tell you how many pieces of drip edge, you know, how many linear feet of that, starters, ice and water, underlayment, shingles, ridge vent, cap shingles. I mean, really, if you're looking to get into like a sales position, okay, in the roofing industry or siding or windows or whatever,
never slapped a shingle in your life.
Yes, this is a great tool
right.
for you to learn on to gain, and the understanding of like how a roof works and the components that you have to use in order to give a customer a watertight product.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it was nice to meet those guys. So.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And here's the big daddies here. We love these things, man.
Yeah.
We got 2 of these ourselves. I mean, what a tool this is.
Yeah.
If anyone doesn't know what this is called an equipter. So they were on display here. Let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit for you guys and show you what exactly it is. Basically, it is a dump trailer on wheels that also has hydraulic lift capabilities. It can lift up. It can angle for a dump. It has a bit like, for lack of better terms, bays that open up on the top, so it'll funnel trash down into it.
Right.
It has a tailgate that lifts up and down hydraulically. And you can also set it straight up and boom it out towards the roof. If you have like let's just say you have a bump out porch or something like that you got to get it up to the main roof. You can park it in front of the porch, lift it straight up, and then boom it into the roof.
Yes. Yeah. So, it's really nice. It's great, for clean up at the end of the job, or let's just say you're kind of a roofing company that does their own deliveries. So if you're doing like a single story rancher or something like that, it's really ideal. You can get it up. I think it's about 12 feet.
Right.
So if you have a single story rancher that's somewhere between 9 and 12, 9 and 10 feet tall, from the sidewalk up to the gutter line. So you can load your shingles up, go to the supply house, put the shingles in the back of that thing, put it on the back of your truck, haul it out to the job site, raise this thing up to the roof, and then it's got a tailgate that's on hydraulics. So it's not like it's kind of like a tailgate on the back of a truck, but this thing's got hydraulic arms on it.
Right.
That I don't even know what the weight rating is, but you can slowly bring this thing down right onto the roof so it's safe. So your guys aren't like slipping off this thing, falling on the roof, going underneath it. Right. It makes it real safe. I think they hold up to, I want to say, that particular one there, I think the RB48 stands for 4,800 pounds. So they hold a lot of weight. I think safely we can get about, like on a tear off, if we don't bring a dumpster, and if the job is small enough, it'll definitely take the shingles out there, like under 12 squares or less. I wouldn't do like a 20 square job or even a 15 square job you might be able to get away with, but I would not go over that, especially if it's double layered.
Right.
Because then it's 30 squares. If it's 13 squares, it's 26 squares of shingles. So you don't want to do that. But we use it like on city properties where you can't get a dump trailer in, because the unique thing about this thing is you actually can drive it.
Right.
And it's got turf tires on it, so you're not tearing the neighbor's yard up. You're not tearing the homeowner's yard up. And then let's say you're doing a city job. This thing will drive up onto the sidewalk. And you can drive it right down the sidewalk. Right. It's slick as heck, man. I mean, it's really cool.
Yeah, I know I have a tear off down in Maryland that we're going to be doing on Monday. And it's going to be, super critical to have that thing down there. Because the way this tear off is, it's a big townhome. And the buildings are so close together, and they have courtyards and walkways in the middle of them. Right. So we can't get a dumpster in there. Yep. Can't get a dumpster anywhere close to the building. So we're going to stage a dumpster about 50 yards away from the building, load all the trash in, drive it over, and dump it into the dumpster.
Yeah, man.
So, I mean,
it's ideal for that situation.
I would not want to pick up 100 square shingles off the ground.
No way.
Shingle wrappers, all that kind of stuff off the ground at the end of that tear off.
No way. No way.
It's going to save us a lot of time. It's going to save us a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's going to help us, do what is most important, which is leave the job site better than it was when we got there.
Absolutely, and that's the whole point. We don't want to do more damage than there was before we got there. Right. We're always trying to improve the home. That's why it's called home improvement.
Absolutely. Did they have any kind of new stuff, or were they just kind of showing off?
There was, but it wasn't there. I think it might have been in their literature where they actually put an arm on it. So then it's almost like an engine hoist. It reminded me of an engine hoist, where I'm assuming that like you can hook like a skid of shingles to it, and it would take it further up the roof.
Gotcha.
For you. So you would take that up, grab the shingles out of it, and then telescope this up the roof to take it further up the roof.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Or, I guess, you know what would be really slick if the if skid of shingles was on the ground and you needed to pick them up and put them in the back of it. I'm sure there's multiple things you could figure out how to use
right.
or what to use it for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yep.
That's awesome. So,
one
here's Stinger.
Yes.
And anyone that doesn't know what a Stinger gun is, a Stinger gun is a type. It's basically a handheld stapler on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
It shoots a staple into a round plastic cap that's about the size of a quarter. And what that does is when you nail down felt paper or synthetic felt or anything like that, you know, a lot of guys just use regular slapstick staplers.
Yep.
Well, you have a staple's real thin.
Right.
You know, so the point of contact is really small.
Yes.
So it can't handle a lot of stress. You know, the wind will pull the staples through and all that kind of
Right.
stuff a lot easier.
Yep.
You know, these cap nails or cap staples, they have a bigger surface area, so they allow for more stress.
Exactly.
The wind, it's a lot harder for the wind to tear them off, and it's actually a requirement for synthetic felt when you put them down. When
Yeah,
you put that
for
down.
GAF lifetime warranty.
When you're doing a lifetime warranty, you have to have the cap nails in there.
Right. And another good point is too, it's a lot safer for the guys to be up there working, because I don't know how many times I've seen, especially with organic felt paper, where the paper rips because, like you said, the surface or the staple just isn't big. It's not like it has a head on it like a nail would.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a siding nail has a real big head on it. So what the caps, you know, do for the staple, it actually gives it like a bigger head.
Yeah.
More of a surface to hold things down
Yeah.
in place so they don't tend to slide out. Or like you said, if the wind comes and picks up, you know, it's not going to tear it off. Things
Right.
of that nature. And like you said too, it's also a requirement for lifetime roof system.
Yeah,
GAF.
and I don't know if you've ever noticed, Todd, but when you're using just a regular slapstick stapler, obviously the way that mechanically works, when you slap it down, there's a head or a pin that drives that staple into the wood.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes, you know, the object of this thing, it's like a hammer. I
Yes.
mean, you beat it against the roof.
Yes.
Well, sometimes if you hit that thing too hard, that head will actually drive the nail and also rip the paper at the
Yes.
same time. So
Yep.
you're really not even nailing anything.
Exactly.
It looks like you are.
Yes.
But it's actually ripped around the staple.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that can become very unsafe, as you said, you know,
Yes.
very quickly. You think you got a whole row of ice and water or paper on there, and then you step on it and it just goes.
Yes. Right, and this, like you said, having that cap on there, that alleviates that. It's called the hammer.
Yeah.
When the hammer pokes out, the hammer, the staple or nail in, it tears the paper, and let's say it's empty.
Right.
How many times have...
Oh, dude.
And you're going and going
You look
and
back
going
10
and going.
feet and it's like, wait a minute, there's even any staples on that.
Exactly. Well, this is kind of foolproof. So if
Everyone
there's
knows what we're talking about.
Right, so if there's no fluorescent green caps coming out, then you know you're empty.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that's what's so slick about it. It does a lot of... I mean, it serves a lot of purposes.
Yeah,
For sure.
It's a really, really cool design. And they actually have those, if you guys notice down here in the bottom, they actually have versions of these Stingers that aren't, you know, the slapstick, the mechanical, the mechanical one.
Yeah.
You know, this is an air-powered gun.
Pneumatic.
Pneumatic.
Yep.
Yes, pneumatic.
Yep.
Which, you know, saves the arm from beating.
For sure.
It saves the misfires that happen sometimes, because sometimes your caps don't separate. You know, any normal thing that's happened, anyone that's used them or staple guns, you know, they get jammed sometimes.
Yes,
the pneumatic
for sure.
version
And
works
it's
a
so
lot
much
better.
quicker.
Yeah.
So much quicker. You save so much time with it, and you know, like you said, it's not getting jammed up like a regular staple gun is, and you know, the way when you fill those things, it's actually quicker to fill it. It's just the time saving and safety of it. You know, you already have your roofing air hose up there.
Yeah.
Why not spend a couple extra bucks? It basically takes the same style as it would as a mechanical, you know, slap stapler would as the pneumatic. So it's really no brainer to get one.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. So that's just an example, guys, of you know, it's not just the material companies, the roofing companies, you know, the shingle companies, shingle manufacturers. You know, it's the tools that are out there that the trades use to install these things.
Fasteners.
You know? Yeah.
Huge.
So
huge. Oh boy.
Here's the guys from Roof Scope. If you guys watched our show last week, this is the company that does a lot of our in-house takeoffs, for our new construction side. What we like about these guys so much is they don't just work off of satellite imagery, which they can do just like a hover, but they also work off of paper blueprints.
Yes.
Which a lot of these
That's huge.
companies lack in.
Yeah.
For instance, this isn't just for a new construction thing. For all you retail guys out there and salespeople, you don't have to be going into a new construction development to run into an issue where you need something like this.
Absolutely.
What if you have a customer that wants to replace their roof and build an addition and put a roof on it?
There you go.
The addition doesn't exist yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I guarantee you they have a blueprint.
Yes.
So they'll be able to take that off. They'll be able to get you a siding takeoff, gutter takeoffs, all that kind of stuff. The roofing,
I think they do
everything.
stucco. I think they do masonry. They do all kinds of things, and then within the program too, they have kind of like an estimating software in there as well that we find really slick as hell, because it's kind of set up like an estimating software that the insurance companies use called Xactimate, but their version of it's called ProDocs. So once you get your takeoff, so on the takeoff, you'll get your aerial or you do your blueprint takeoff, however you want to use roof scope. They basically add everything up for you too. They don't just give you like the square totals and the areas, the square amounts of the areas. They give you basically the entire takeoff. They'll give you how many pieces of drip edge you need, starter, same thing as hover. Okay, but what's unique about these guys, like you said, they also do paper blueprints, but they also have ProDocs within the system. Okay, so in that, you pull it up, and we can actually show you later how slick it is, but when you go into this, okay, it already has everything quantified. I know that's your favorite word.
I love that word.
That's why I used it.
Yeah, man.
So
I love that word.
I'm sorry, I got like this thing in the back of my throat here. My allergies have been killing me today, but so it quantifies everything for you. Okay, so basically the only thing that you really have to put in there is like your labor price, your unit price, like if it's 58 squares of shingles, $50 times 58 squares of shingles. It'll quantify everything for you. Like they take out the legwork for you. Like they do all the heavy lifting, and then you turn this over to the homeowner or potential client, and you look like the rock star, but really behind the scenes, they did all the work. They're like, wow, your estimate is great. Yeah. Like you nailed it on every single thing. You know what I mean? Because in the ProDocs, it has anything from like, pitch changes would need to be quantified different. Anything from like a 7 to like a 9 pitch would cost something different, and then from like 10 to 12 would cost something different. So like everything, you can't forget anything. Right. They already have it on there for you. You just need to basically put in your unit price. Yeah, it's slick.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
It is.
That's cool.
It's very slick.
So, we love those guys, and plus,
we do.
They communicate with the CRM that we use right now too. So, that's really big. To the point that we can take their measurements and put them in with our formulas we have in our CRM and generate material lists just right off that, based off of our formulas we have in there. Yep. And it communicates. As soon as we get the roof scope document back, the system that we use reads that document. The HTML coding and all that kind of stuff. So it's really slick.
It is slick.
And these guys are great.
They are great. They're a good partner of ours.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are. Chris, the guy that's on the far left right there, he's our account manager, and he's like our Dave King at Roof Scope. You know what I mean? Every company's got their Dave King, and I can't say enough good stuff about Dave King. Well, Chris Lanes is a rock star. I could call that dude right now, and I think they're actually 2 hours different than we are. He'd answer the phone. If he didn't answer the phone, he'd call me back. It's probably because he's on the phone or he's putting his kid in bed or whatever, but he's one of those guys that goes over and beyond, answers all of your questions, very patient with you, speaks in a monotone like voice, like he's just cool, calm, and collected. If you guys watched last week's show, he's on the show, and it's just listening to him talk is like, he's not cocky, he's not arrogant, but he knows his shit. Do you know what I'm saying? He doesn't act like I know he was actually, after the show was over, he said, I heard you mention something. and I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to embarrass him in case he's watching, but he was humble enough to ask me, what was that you were talking about? And I explained to him, he's like, I've been doing this for a while now, and I never knew what that was.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? And that's the kind of people all of them are. I got to meet the owner. I had 2 meetings with the owner out there. A great guy. He actually, so a little quick story behind RoofScope. RoofScope was designed by a roofer for roofers. Right. They still have a roofing company, very successful roofing company out in the Midwest. And of course they use RoofScope themselves and are very successful with it. And he's a very successful businessman, just a great guy. Yeah. Just like we were talking about earlier, a guy that has the same vision. I love the way, I told him probably 4 or 5 times that I love the way that he thinks. I mean, he just very humble, very, charismatic. I mean, just a lot of energy, good positive energy guy. I mean, just great people. I mean, I really can't say enough about him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
For sure.
They're definitely a good partner of ours. We use them a lot.
Yeah.
And then
I was creeping on
Roofing Insights. This is another. This is a guy by the name of Dimitri. Has a really large roofing company. Has a really big following.
He actually sold his roofing company.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he sold it. This is all he's doing now.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. All right. So he has a big Roofing Insights, which is a big YouTube channel that a lot of the people in the roofing industry watch, get nuggets from, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so he had that.
Popular. He does a lot of mentoring. He holds the roofing school, Insight School. So he'll actually come to your shop, train you guys, mentor you, kind of give your business an audit.
Yeah.
And just really intelligent guy. Very successful business owner as well. And all about taking care of himself physically, mentally, and spiritually. So, good dude. Very good dude. So, that there is the catch-all. Should have got some better pictures of those guys. But, so this is our next, latest, and greatest piece of equipment that we'll be using in conjunction to the Equipter. And I so badly wanted to mention it when you were speaking about the Equipter.
Right.
Because where the Equipter can't go or reach, you don't have to worry about it damaging the bushes anymore. So what this does is, if you look at that closely enough, that actually goes up against the house and protects the bushes. And then it also has more, and I'm going to call them, for lack of better terms, tarps.
Right.
That are actually like a netting. Okay, so the netting goes, they give you enough netting to go over the bushes, go over the yard, so there's no more picking up, nails, little pieces of felt paper. Nails, I know, is one of our biggest, nemesis of making sure we're getting all the nails out of the bushes, out of the grass, out of the mulch. Well, that's over now. So once this comes in, now it's going to take a little longer than I thought, because today I actually was informed that they weren't going to ship it until I gave them our logo. If you see in that picture where it says logo goes here, well, I got to send them. That's actually on Velcro. So we can replace them. You can pull them on and off.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so then when the shingles are coming over it, at some point in time, it's going to wear out.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So we need to send them our logo, so they're going to ship it all at one time, but the salesperson there told me that, and I've heard it before, so I'm not sure why this person said for me to send the logo, but whatever. So I need to send them the logo. Hopefully tomorrow I'll get around to doing that. So we'll get this, and I bought the biggest kit that they have, so it should go the whole way around the home, one single family, or we can split it up into 2 and do 2 roofs in one day, where these would be required, where you could only put it, tear off the front first, tear down the equipment, put it out back, tear the back off, you know what I mean, which I think under normal circumstances most people do that, but I'm a go big or go home kind of guy, so I bought the entire freaking kit. So.
Yeah, man, this is awesome. Yeah. That thing's awesome. This is gonna get us out of some situations sometimes, because there is some times where it's very hard to get a tarp down.
Absolutely.
I mean, sometimes people have big bushes, like for instance, the job that we did with the solar. They had landscaping, some big different size bushes.
Yeah, man.
I mean, to get a tarp in there, sometimes it's like weaving up and down.
Yeah.
You can't. then you get a giant clump of heavy shingles right in the middle of some bushes.
Right.
And,
yeah.
So and it saves the siding too. Because I'm sure you've seen numerous times where siding gets dinged up.
I was at a property one day, quoting this guy, and he had a koi pond. Mm-hmm. And that's probably the day I said to myself, God, I wish I had a catch-all. Mm-hmm. Because he had probably $100,000 in landscaping, and I'm talking just probably in his backyard.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about the sides. We're not even talking about the front yard yet. This dude had a koi pond, and I thought, man, we really need one of them, because the beautiful thing about the catch-all is it's not a tarp. Okay, so it's not going to kill your bushes. It's not going to kill your grass, and it's not going to, if you got a koi pond, you're not throwing a piece of plastic, so then you cut the oxygen off to the fish that's inside this koi pond, because what it is, it's netting. I should have took a better picture. Yeah. When we get it, we'll do a tutorial on the whole thing, but it's a net. That's the net right there. And it comes with all those poles, and they telescope. They what's the word I'm looking for? They telescope.
Right.
So you can get them up higher.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the nets that they have up at driving ranges.
Right. And
stuff. That's what it reminds me of. Like a mesh.
Yeah.
Like a thick, good durable mesh netting.
Yeah, it is.
Do they? Is there any kind of guarantees on the product that nails aren't going to rip it or anything like that? Are we going to end up with a big holy thing, or
I asked her about the warranty that it came with, and she says, unfortunately, of course it comes with. I asked if it came with a lifetime warranty. I should have asked what type of warranty. Now her answer to lifetime warranty is no. Because unfortunately, and I even finished her sentence for her is that, okay, we're roofers. We're rough on stuff. You know what I mean? We're there at some point in time, I'm sure something's going to break, but that's the other cool thing about this is we can buy any part, piece, and component that we need.
Yeah.
Later on.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
So it seems like you've seen a couple good products out there.
Yeah.
I watched a couple videos and seen a couple products that we didn't mention on here. Anything from safety devices that you hook on the ridge to allow you to get up steep slopes.
Yes.
Devices that can be used to hook your ladder up to gutters.
Yes.
All kinds of different things. So it really kind of reaffirms what you were saying on, it's not just the industry stuff, the shingle manufacturers, that kind of stuff, but, safety equipment, stuff to make cleanup easier between this and an equipter. You're hitting it out of the park with those two things.
Yeah, for sure. I think they were good. I think it was good. The whole thing was good for me to experience and learn, and the knowledge, and then the new equipment that's out there. There was actually this thing, it was called the shingle rocket. So basically, and I talked to you about it. I should have took a video of it, and I forgot. But basically, it reminds you of those chutes that you would see in the city where they're demoing the 15th floor, and they had these chutes where you could throw all the trash in it and it would go into the dumpster. Well, this thing reminded me, imagine an equipter without the dump box on it. This thing had a big chute on it. But it was manageable enough so it was essentially a trailer that had the hitch, had the wheels, had the hydraulic, so you could raise it up and swing it, so you wouldn't have to drive it. The arm would actually swing, and then it would telescope.
Right.
To get it up closer to the roof. So ideally, it would work great with the equipter, because the equipter only goes up about 12 feet. So this thing essentially would go the whole way up to the gutter on a 2.5 story home, so you can get all the trash in it, and it would go through the tube, which was like an aluminum tube. So just like the equipter's made out of a real thick aluminum. Right. Yeah, it was slick. It was called the shingle rocket.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So seems like you had a great time, man. Is there any particular thing that you can think of that stuck out the most that you took back with you?
Probably what I mentioned early on, as far as the equipment goes, or just overall.
Just overall. What's the biggest nugget that you learned there that you're taking back with you? If that's not, if we're not going to be, divulging any secrets here or anything like that.
I have a couple secrets, but no. So the biggest nugget that I got from it was probably a lot of what I touched on early on in the show.
Gotcha.
Was, it's not just about, improving my career, but improving the quality of my life.
Right.
If I got anything out of it, I mean, believe me, we could sit here for a whole nother hour and I could tell you, I could go down day by day, hour by hour of all the things that, there was so much going on and I wanted to absorb all of it. And I did a really good job on meeting the people that I wanted to meet, the things that I saw that interest me. I went over and I spoke with them and I stepped out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And maybe that's probably the nugget that I got. And subconsciously, unconsciously knowing that, once again, I had stepped out of my comfort zone and went over and introduced myself to people that I didn't know and sure as hell didn't know me. Mm-hmm. And there was this one kid that was selling a product that was like JP. Mm-hmm. But it was more geared towards, because all of them, Job Nimbus, AccuLinks, Jobber, they all do something different. They all don't do they all pretty much do the same thing, but they all don't seem to do exactly everything that I needed to do. So this kid's program, or CRM, or whatever you want to call it, because I'm not even sure if it was exactly a CRM, but I think it was called Clocker. So it was more geared towards clocking in and clocking out for service companies. Yes. So,
that's one we've been searching for.
Yes. So I spoke to him, and the thing that discouraged me is that he'd never heard of Job Progress.
Oh, really?
Yes. So after speaking with him for a while, the kid was good, and he was so good of a salesperson that he didn't even work for this company. He was a local that they had hired to come out to sell stuff for this company while they were at the trade show. Hence why he's never heard of Job Progress, because he's not technically from our industry.
Oh,
yes.
Gotcha.
Yes, okay. But it took me a minute, because I talked to this dude, I bet, for a good 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he picked up on what they were selling pretty quick. And I think a lot of companies out there, like I said, the restrictions were coming back. So I think a lot of people didn't show up that they thought was going to show up. It wasn't as big as last year. Last year was in Texas, and which is kind of unusual. Well, maybe not because it was in Texas, but it was the largest one that they had ever had. More people had showed up, like 70,000+ people came. But this wasn't like that at all. And I think a lot of vendors had backed out. So I think some of those who didn't, because the woman that I bought the catch-all from was actually the same woman that I spoke to at Win the Storm conference.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she traveled.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So she actually works for catch-all. She's not just somebody they picked up locally. And I think moral of the story is, I think a lot of the vendors that were there tried to find people that were local, so they didn't have to ship their people out there.
Yeah.
During the
COVID and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right.
So we want to do a couple shout outs here. I definitely want to shout out. We got a big birthday coming up here.
Oh boy.
Our fearless leader tomorrow is his birthday. How old will you be, man?
39.
I thought you were going to say 35, but
no, 39. Yep. Big 39 tomorrow.
You got anything excited planned? Anything? You and Jan are going to do anything fun?
I guess I feel some kind of way because I was gone for so long. Mm-hmm. That I just feel like I'm not worthy of doing something special. Because I've already, the past week and a half, I mean, I got to experience a lot of good stuff. I had a good time. Now, not that it wasn't work, pleasure type of stuff. And I always bring work with me, so it doesn't matter where I'm at or where we go.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure out something to come up with work about.
I know. I talked to you Thursday, and you told me that because you were originally supposed to come home Friday, and you were like, "Well, our flight got delayed, and we can't leave till Saturday." And I was like, "Man, what a bummer."
Yeah.
Okay. Right? Your flight gets delayed in Vegas. What a bummer.
Yeah. Well, what we really should have did, but I'm glad we did come home on Saturday. We should have stayed Saturday because Friday night was probably the best. I felt, because I knew nobody was. It was Friday night.
Yeah.
And I'm in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I didn't really get to experience Vegas because it's through the work week. Like,
right.
It just didn't feel right to hang out in the casino all night or go check out a show or stay up real late. Even though we ended up staying up late, but it really wasn't.
A lot of that was the time difference,
right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, I'm a big dog, dude. I'm up at 1:30. Really, it's 11:30.
Yeah.
Eastern Standard Time. But
right.
but it was weird. It was crazy. But I had never been to Vegas before. That was my first experience with Vegas. Jana did more gallivanting than I did. I was more into like the trade show and what was going on. Like I was like a kid in a candy store. Like I didn't want to leave, and I was like a baby who didn't want to go to sleep because I didn't want to miss anything. do you know what I'm saying? So that's really, that was my thought process behind it. And then in the evenings, I'd start to ease up and quit beating myself up for not being at work. You know what I mean? Because I knew it was after work hours. And that's where I think I came up with where I felt like I lost 3 hours in the morning, but in the evening I was able to gain 3 hours back because y'all closed up shop, and yet it's still only 5:30 here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
When it was 8:30 back here.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the one night I texted you. I was going to text you, and I was like, wait a minute, it's late. And I was like, wait a minute, it's not late for him. I'm going to text him.
Yeah.
You're like, what are you still doing up?
I know.
But
right.
yeah, man, I'd imagine that is, took a little bit of time to deal with, to get used to.
Yeah.
Are you going to go next year?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Never miss it again.
I'll never miss it again. Yeah, I'll never miss it again. And Janet said, old tiebacker. Yep. Yeah, man.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, it was good stuff. And of course, while I'm out there, I'm like, all right, our next office is going to be across the street over here from the Mandalay Bay. You should have saw the roof damage down there.
Oh, yeah?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Really?
Yes. I don't know why.
I wonder how many companies are cashing in after.
I don't know.
After having all them companies.
I don't know if this makes any sense or not, but when it's 112 degrees, okay, and I'm not exaggerating, it was hot.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go gallivanting. I didn't need to go outside. This place was so goddamn big, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't have to leave. And where we were staying, in conjunction to where the convention, it was connected to the same building, but there was 3 hotels at Mandalay Bay. Okay, so they're all connected. 1, 2, 3 casinos. I mean, this place was freaking huge. It was great. So, but I'm wondering, and I thought to myself, with it being 100 degrees nonstop, if it has an effect on the shingles. Like, are the shingles affected more over there because of the excessive heat all the time, most of the time, compared to here? Would be a question that I would have to
that'd be a really good question, because where I feel like we would make up for not being 110 degrees all the time, we would make up for that in we get extreme colds too. So you have that fluctuation of hot, cold.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? So so what would be worse for the shingle? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, but it seemed like there was a lot of blow-offs.
Really?
Like everywhere I looked, there was blow-offs on every roof.
You need to get some HDZs down in there.
Yeah, they do, for sure. For sure. And a lot of it was like hotels, motels, stuff like that, like nice, light commercial, easy, nothing was real steep, walkable.
Yeah.
So anyone out in Vegas or close to Vegas, man, check it out. Go down the strip. Check it out.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, knock some doors. So.
Well, I think we are. It's 8:07. I think we're about done here.
Yeah.
If anyone has any kind of questions specifically for Ty about this event or about any of the products that we went over,
man,
feel free to reach out. I'm sure there's still a ton of stuff that we could have talked about that we don't have time, unfortunately, in a whole hour.
For sure. And there was much more things that we wanted to do, but like you said, we ran out and we were on a good roll there and went over a good bit of stuff. And if you want to just take the next 2 minutes and do some shout outs.
Yeah. David KX, as always, buddy, thank you for watching. Jenna Shear, Chuck in the Truck, Lewis, what's going on, Lewis? David KX's partner at Allied Maintenance. Giovanni Molina is watching. What's going on, Mike Brown? Kevin Dignis is on here. Lauren Homko, Derek Schaefer, Vic behind the ones and twos is watching from over there. David Bruno, Belmont Bean Company. And I can't scroll up any higher than that for some reason. I think because I exited in the middle of the thing, it won't let me scroll up higher. What do you got?
I got Brooke Young. I got Janet Banana. Good to see you. David Bruno, my man. Victor Yuri. Scott Andrew Scott. Ricky Day, good to see you, man. Thanks for always tuning in. You guys are the best. I think that was it. Derek Schaefer, man. Let's get it together. That's right. Let's do this. Lorona, good to see you. Belmont Bean. Chuck and Truck. Thank you, brother. You're a good man. Love you, man. I think that was really it. I think you covered everything. Everybody, Dingus. Glad you're part. Mike Brown. Thank you. I'm glad to be back. Lewis and David Cax, man. If we missed anybody, we sincerely apologize, but we'll catch you on the flip side next week. What do you want to talk about next week, man? You want to maybe get the Equipter out and maybe do some donuts in the parking lot with it and get that on film, or?
I'm down with it, man. Test its capabilities out.
Yeah.
Put some stuff in it and lift it up.
Okay.
See how far it goes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll think of something cool.
Cool.
We'll think of something cool.
All right.
Hopefully everyone stays safe. We got a big storm that just rolled through here. There's going to be a lot of flooding. I heard 83 is not good. So if anyone's traveling right now, stay off 83. Watch the back roads with the floods.
Yes.
This was our first ever show done live from the middle of a pond. So
that's right. We actually were.
I think we got flooded here.
There was at least 2 inches of water over there in the corner.
Dude. Yeah, there's definitely standing water over there.
Yeah.
So
my feet are wet.
Sorry, buddy. So we're grateful that we didn't get electrocuted.
Yes.
I don't know how, and how Vic didn't over there.
Hey, we're sitting on rubber, bro.
Yeah,
we're good.
Yeah. Sorry, Vic.
But yeah, everyone have a safe rest of your week. Finish out strong. We'll catch everyone next Wednesday at 7 o'clock for episode 87. Thank you once again for everyone tuning in. If you have not liked and followed the page, please do so.
Absolutely.
We'll see everyone next week.
See you.